What's going on, guys? Coach New back in the building with another one. As usual, it's going to be jam packed full of jewels. And your time is always appreciated because you could be doing anything, but you hear me checking out these reviews. And it's another one. It's wild. It's about a man who's being accused of shooting his woman inside of their apartment. So let's check it out.
Story this hour, killed in an apparent case of domestic violence. The family of Keisha Moore is demanding justice.
Sunday night, Moore was found shot to death in her Linden Hills apartment. Now her boyfriend is facing charges for her murder. Paul Bloom is live in the newsroom after what was an emotional day for the victim's family. Paul?
Randy and Amy, Keisha Moore's family is reeling here. A large group of her loved ones showed up for the defendant's first court appearance today. Some driving into town from 3 hours away to be there for support. Tonight, they are asking themselves, how could someone so close be accused of causing so much pain?
All right, man. So, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, decision making, like I say in all the videos, man. And again, another case of domestic violence. And it always starts, of domestic violence, man, arguing with your woman, which is, an irrational thing to do. There's no winning an argument with a woman, man. And arguing with your woman is like you being in your feelings too. So you going back and forth with a female, and they live and base their whole life off of emotion. Like that's what they do. So when you're thinking logically and rationally, you know that that's not how you operate. You don't think like that, man, as a man. So it doesn't really make any sense to go back and forth with a female, and it's just draining your energy. It's wasting your time, and it's draining your energy in more way than what it's draining your energy mentally, physically, and spiritually. So it just doesn't make any sense to do that. And then, like, this is an example, like many others that I always show, of what happens when you think irrationally, when you think with your emotion, then you end up making decisions that don't help you. If it's not helping you, then it's hurting you. And the decisions you make affect you and everyone around you, like I always say. Then if it's hurting you, it's hurting somebody else too, most likely. And that's why, it's so important, man, to just think rationally, man. Be on top of your game and keep yourself out of situations like this so you don't even have to go through anything like this, man. Being able to walk away when you arguing, if you do happen to find yourself arguing with a woman, just having the mental capacity to walk away from that argument. Even if you have to get out the house for a moment to avoid an argument, you should do that. They're just going to save you first of all. And then it's going to save the person that you were arguing with. Just so things don't get out of hand like that.
Everybody who came in contact with Keisha loved her. Her family loved her. She was a pillar in the family.
Keisha Moore's murder has shattered her tight-knit family just days before Christmas, as they hugged and held each other tight right after court on Thursday.
Keisha is a person who believes in giving back, and I'm devastated.
Deborah Moore explained she spent many, many years supporting and advocating for victims of intimate partner violence. And then for this to happen to her daughter, allegedly at the hands of longtime boyfriend Johnny Brown, she is numb.
What he did is, I can't even fathom the words to say it, okay? Because we opened up our hearts and our homes to him.
The 50-year-old Brown has a history of criminal convictions for assault and weapons violations, as well as a half dozen or so orders for protection filed against him. He's accused of shooting Moore in the head in the apartment they had shared in Linden Hills on Sunday night. According to court filings, Moore lied to authorities about what happened, claiming Moore pulled the gun out first, then blaming alcohol and an escalating fight over his supposed cheating.
All right, man. So if I'm not mistaken, they said he was 50 years old. That's honestly, man, that's in my opinion, it's really too old to be arguing and going back and forth with a female, and then especially like if you know you cheated and you weren't supposed to be cheating, like you didn't discuss that with your woman about you being with other women and her being okay with it, then that's cheating. Like if she doesn't know that you have other women, and even if you have another woman and she knows but the other woman doesn't know, that's still cheating, man. All parties have to agree and be in agreement in agreement for that thing to work. And like they need to know about each other. You need to be honest from the beginning if that's the kind of lifestyle that you're living and you're gonna be living, or just even if you don't want to be with that partner anymore, then move around. And when alcohol's involved, we all know that affects your mental in a tremendous way, man. Especially if you drink too much. I'm not saying you drunk too much, but just when you do, you can black out, not remember things. And then they said drunk minds speak the sober truth. And on top of that, like, you're less likely to not argue with somebody when you're drinking. You're going to go back and forth with them because you're drunk. Like, there are some nice drunks that don't like to argue and stuff like that. But when you are already in the heat of the moment and stuff like that, and you drunk, it doesn't have a beneficial impact, especially when you arguing with somebody. And then when a firearm is involved too, and you arguing, it's just, it doesn't make any sense really. So in this case, he was in the house already, but just going back with his female and drinking alcohol, it was involved. Like that's what he was trying to say. Blame it on the alcohol. At the same time, you're supposed to know your limits, and it's not going to help his case because or what he's trying to say is, alcohol was involved, which, it's messed up that it was. And at the same time, like I said, you're supposed to know your limits. So that still I don't think it's really going to hold any weight like that, because don't drink too much so things like this won't happen. And it probably would have turned out a different way if he was sober. He would have been able to think clearly, and he would have been able to maybe not even argue with that woman, and just avoid this whole thing altogether. It probably would have went a totally different way without alcohol being involved. That's why it's so important to know your limits and not get to the point where you're incoherent, so you could say you don't remember or you blacked out. Being sober is really the best thing for you to do, especially, if you're going through something with your female and you guys are arguing. Don't involve, alcohol, especially mixed with firearms. It doesn't work out.
Made a brief appearance before a judge in the public safety facility where Moore's family wanted him to see her face on their shirts as a reminder of the beautiful soul he's accused of stealing from all who loved her.
Our pain, our agony, our suffering, not good at all. We want justice for Keisha. We want the max. We want the max. Long live Keisha.
And important to note here, Johnny Brown remains in the Hennepin County Jail tonight with bail set at $1.5 million. His next court date is in about a month. Keisha's family telling me they will be at every single upcoming hearing to make sure Brown understands the consequences of his alleged actions and that he goes to prison in the end for a very long time. We're live at news with Paul Bloom, Fox
9. All right, man. And then, you traumatized that family. Our relatives are obviously upset by that from his actions. And then alcohol, we all know that they call them wine and spirits. and then, you know, because it's something that takes over you and it's able to take over your body and make you act in ways that you usually wouldn't act when you are sober. So that's another reason why, you know, it's not good to drink too much. Everything like in moderation, I believe is cool, but just don't overdo it to the point where you have to blame your actions on something that you were doing, such as alcohol or, you know, weed or something like that. And so, you know, it's just avoid that thing, man, and be responsible, drink responsibly, man, and be mindful of, you know, how much you're consuming and anything that you're doing. So these type of situations can be avoided, man. So anyways, it's Coach Noob. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're digging this kind of content. And your time is always appreciated because you can be doing anything, but you hear me checking out these reviews. Until next time, I'm out.